when you're in a university, you see a lot of different religions, different people, and very quickly I was like, man, this whole God thing's stupid,
Yeah.
and these people are just solidifying that in my mind, and so I let everybody know I'm an atheist, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I'm going to show how stupid to all these people, how stupid all these religions are, especially you Christians. That's I remember saying that to a guy I knew, especially to you
Love it.
Christians.
Yeah.
And so I set out on a journey. I just looked at it historically. Like my whole thing was, all faith has a set of documents, so to speak,
Yes.
or
Mhm.
a religious part. And so what I did is I went after, okay, what is their faith based off of? Where does this culminate from? Historically, how did they receive the documents they got? How were they preserved? How were they translated? Archaeologically, what evidences do we have that the events in these things happened, and how has that been backed up from other sources other than that religion sources? So if it was Muslim sources, I went outside of those sources to other
Mhm.
places.
Sure.
And really quickly, I got through, Hindu, Buddhism, and a couple others, what I call the major 4 or 5. Um, and I got to Christianity. I thought, man, this is gonna be a slam dunk. If those guys were so easy, Christianity would be a slam dunk. And really, that started a 2-year journey. Essentially, I mean, probably more like, I say a 2-year journey, but it's more like a year and a half of me digging in, and it was just incredible and profound. What we're not told, for instance, we've based all our Greek history off of the Homer's Iliad and a couple of these other arguments, and we base history off of that. But little do we know that a lot of that history was verified by the Bible. They didn't go and verify the Bible off the Greek history. It went the other way around. It wasn't until years later they flip-flopped it, and guess what? It still stood. But here's what's interesting is, like, you look at something like that so many historians hang their hat on. We only have, depending who you talk to, 16 to maybe at most 600 resources altogether of all Greek history, right?
Mhm.
You look at the Bible, we have over 6,000 resources if we're going to include it in the same time period as the Greeks and underneath the same litmus test. If we parse that down to what's credible and really what is the origin of it, the Bible has over 5 to 600 original sources, and the Homer Iliad and one other source only have about 16 to 60. I don't know about you, but that kinda got my attention. But then when you
Yeah.
start reading all these events, and I got to, Isaiah was often thought until the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, that it was wrote after Jesus because it was so accurate. It was a
Yes.
prophecy that was so accurate that all these naysayers said, "Hey, it was wrote after Jesus." And then along comes the Dead Sea Scrolls, and everybody's like, "Oh, no, 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 they're not that old." And then they carbon date them, and everybody's like, "Okay,
Mhm.
these things are really old." And again, depending what source you look at, we're talking 400 to over 800 years old are the Dead Sea Scrolls before Jesus came. And it's the most accurate prophecy of anything foretold in any kind of history, secular, non secular, any other religion.
Mm.
And that started to grab me. And the
Yes.
more and more I dug in, history just profoundly supports the Bible, and the Bible profoundly supports history.